I really enjoyed Royally Yours this Christmas, and there's something about this film that made me feel something I don't normally feel with royalty based Christmas films, and I will discuss what I mean by that with a spoiler warning in a little bit. This was released this year, 2023. It's directed by Don McBrearty and written by Jessica L. Randall. And this stars Cindy Sampson as Neve and Steve Byers as James. And James is our prince, and he's staying at this hotel where Neve works. And encouraged by one of her friends and colleagues, Neve decides to try on the ball gown of one of the hotel's guests while she's housekeeping. And it just so happens that she's wearing that dress when Prince James goes into the room. And there's a reason why he goes into the room. I won't go into too much detail, but long story short, they meet each other while she's in this ball gown, and on the spur of the moment, so that this prince hasn't just caught a housekeeper wearing another guest's expensive gown, her colleague decides to lie and pretend that she's somebody else, somebody of, I guess, importance within society, if you like, and she has to keep up this pretense throughout the film because, well, she starts to spend time with James, and James might be able to help the acting program that she runs for children, for teenagers, and obviously she doesn't want to lose the publicity that he could bring because it could really help them out financially. But at the same time, how could she possibly keep this up? And I'm not going to give any of that away, but I was genuinely curious to find out what would happen. I felt second-hand embarrassment for Neve on multiple occasions, and I was genuinely nervous for her because I just felt like at any moment something or someone could give the game away, but it was really unclear where it was going. I don't like what Neve did, but I don't dislike her as a character. James, I really liked, despite being a prince. He felt really genuine, and I think as an on-screen pairing, they work really well together, and I really enjoyed it. And it's got a decent amount of Christmas in it. It's not the most festive film. It's more holiday feel rather than Christmas. But it's still pleasant to watch, and I still enjoyed it. We have some gorgeous costumes. The narrative structure is really good. The pacing is good. And as I said, it made me feel something that I'd never felt before. And I will discuss what I mean by that now. So the only thing I have left to say is this one spoiler. I definitely recommend the film if you like royalty-based Christmas films. I think it's a pretty decent watch and worth checking out. So the spoiler that I was talking about, towards the end of the film, of course, James finds out that Neve is a housekeeper and not the person she was pretending to be. And I felt betrayed. I felt the betrayal that James felt. And this is new to me. Usually with royalty films, not always, there are some exceptions, but generally usually the prince, pretends to be a commoner, if you like, so that people will treat him normally rather than bowing down to him. And then he gets close to the girl, and then eventually the girl finds out he's a prince, and she flips out and storms off and refuses to speak to him. And I always think, you're completely overreacting, because the person you've grown close to is still that person. You got to know the real person behind the prince. So it's not like that was a lie. And I never really felt that betrayal in those situations, but for some reason, with this one, I felt it. And I'm wondering if it's because Neve pretended to be somebody, to want for a better phrase, above her. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being a housekeeper, but she was pretending to be somebody more important in society, somebody with more influence. And I think that hit harder because she was pretending to be somebody, again, according to society, somebody who was better than her. And when it's the other way on, and the prince or princess is just pretending to be a commoner, they're not acting above their station, as it were. Again, stereotypes within society. And I think maybe that's why it affected me. So I'm keen to see if I watch another one anytime soon, to see if I do feel the same way again. I'd also love to know if you felt the same way, if perhaps you have any thoughts about why that is, but I do think it's because she was pretending to be somebody who would be, again, according to society, above her. And I think that's where the problem is. But it was refreshing. It was refreshing to feel that because I wasn't expecting it. I hadn't anticipated it. And then the betrayal hit me. And I kind of had to evaluate why all of a sudden, with this pretty classic royalty based Christmas film, why did I feel this? And I think that's why. So that was actually something I quite enjoyed because it was unpredictable. In all, as I said, it's a really good film. I enjoyed watching it and I definitely recommend it.